Hi everyone, Dr. Fongod here. Today we're going to be talking about why your gut health is critical or important in your weight loss success. So I'm an internal medicine physician who specializes in aesthetic medicine, and one of the things that I specialize in is helping people to lose weight without medication. And in order to help people lose weight without medication, we need to make sure that we dial in your exercise, nutrition, and also your lifestyle so that you can be successful in weight loss. And gut health is a very, very critical part of the weight loss success. Okay, so I created this method of weight loss called the Glow Fast method, and this method primarily focuses on keeping two hormones low in order for you to lose weight. And those hormones are cortisol and insulin. And so how does gut health relate to those two things? So let's start with gut health and cortisol. So when it comes to gut health and cortisol is one of the hormones that is a byproduct of activation of the sympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is your fight or flight nervous system, and that typically will occur during periods of stress. And it's activated because its goal is to help you run away from whatever is causing stress, right? And one of the things that it will do is it will make you gain weight. It will make you reserve energy in like your visceral area. So when you have high cortisol levels, you tend to have visceral fat accumulation. Visceral fat is fat that is surrounding your organs, and typically this is what we consider dangerous fat that can lead to a multitude of issues: high blood pressure, diabetes, strokes, heart attacks. Like, it can lead to so many different derangements down the line. And so you want to make sure that your visceral fat is not, well, you want to make sure you don't have visceral fat. And the only way to make sure you don't have it is if your cortisol levels are low. Okay. And so the how does this correlate to your gut health? Well, your gut is part of the nervous system as well, which a lot of people don't realize this. So the gut is what we would call your enteric nervous system. So the GI system, the gut health, has its own central nervous system. It can produce cortisol on its own, and it can produce other metabolites as well. So if you have stress in your body due to work, for example, or something that's happening outside of yourself, and you also have stress coming from your gut, you're going to have a huge tendency to store fat in your belly, right? So belly fat is basically cortisol fat. It's fear. That's what belly fat is. That's how I like to explain it to my patients. And so why is it important to make sure that your gut health is in order? Well, like I said before, if you have poor gut health, then the nervous system in your GI system by itself is going to be producing cortisol, which you don't want, because that will lead to accumulation of fat in your stomach. So it's important to make sure that your GI system or your gut health is healthy, right? And so how are you going to have healthy guts? Well, let's start with the things that make your gut unhealthy. And a lot of times, the things that make your gut unhealthy will be the foods that you eat, right? So in your GI system or in your gut, you have a nice balance of healthy and unhealthy bacteria. And both of these bacteria, they require different things to be fed, right? So the healthy bacteria will want you to eat fiber or foods that contain fiber, because those non-soluble fibers they're able to break down those fibers, and they can use it to feed themselves. And if they feed themselves, they can help us in other ways, because they help us break down other parts of our body, other proteins that is critical for elimination and for other things. Okay, so just think of the gut as our second helper. Okay, and so you want the gut to have good bacteria in charge so that it can produce metabolites that help our body. So it can produce metabolites that help with decreasing insulin. It can produce metabolites that help with stress reduction, all of that, right? So what you eat is going to be critical in what happens in your gut. if you eat foods that are high in sugar, that is going to feed your bad bacteria. That is going to lead to overgrowth of the things we don't want to be overgrowing. All right. So processed carbohydrates and sugars are going to feed the bad guys. And when the bad guys are fed, they have their own metabolites, right? Their own breakdown products that will wreak havoc to the body. So if the bad bacteria are growing and they're producing waste, for example, their waste is going to create inflammation in the body. Their waste is going to lead to insulin resistance in the body, and their waste is going to actually go into the brain and make you eat more of the foods that will make them grow, which is going to be more processed foods, more sugars, and then it just creates so many problems in the body, right? And when the bad bacteria are in charge, you're not going to be able to have the breakdown of the different components that are necessary for your body to function properly. So basically think of the bad bacteria as hijacking your GI system, and in turn it hijacks your brain, okay, because they work together. The gut is considered the second brain for a reason. So you don't want the bad bacteria to be the predominant bacteria in your GI system. All right. So when you think about eating, for example, you have to ask yourself, what is the food that I'm eating doing for my gut? Is it feeding the gut good stuff, or is it feeding the gut bad stuff? Like, which bacteria is it feeding? And so if you think about it that way, then that will help guide you in terms of the food choices that you're going to take in. So if you eat foods that are whole foods, that have fiber in them, so it could be vegetables, it could be fruits, eating protein, those things tend to not cause problems with your good bacteria. They will actually feed your good bacteria. And if the good bacteria is fed, then everything else is going to work properly. It's going to help with breaking down hormones, for example. It's going to help with bringing insulin down. And you want your gut bacteria, the good guys, to be happy. And so if you're eating those foods, your gut will be happy. And that can definitely help with weight loss, because like I said before in a previous video, high cortisol almost always is going to lead to almost always going to lead to you eating foods that are high in sugar and that are high in simple carbohydrates, and ultimately high in calories. And weight gain occurs when you have too many calories in your body than your body needs, right? And so if you want to lose weight, you have to make sure that your cortisol levels are down, and you need to make sure your insulin levels are down. And those two things are going to be really possible if your good bacteria are the guys in charge in your stomach. However, if your bad bacteria is in charge, that means you're eating a lot of sugar, a lot of processed foods, especially processed carbohydrates, then your gut bacteria is going to produce waste that is going to cause an increase in cortisol, and that increase in cortisol is going to lead to them growing. So you have more bad bacteria in your stomach, which leads to so many problems. It can lead to issues with being able to absorb nutrition properly. It will lead to inflammation, which is going to lead to insulin resistance, which is going to probably lead to the activation of autoimmune disorders. And again, it's going to lead to you gaining weight because you're continually going to be feeding it, which those foods that you feed it will be high in calories, and that will lead to your fat cells growing, and it's going to lead to fat cell growth, lead to you gaining weight. And on top of that, it's going to lead to visceral fat in your body. So the gut is a really, really important part of weight loss. And so in my method, the Glow Fast method, the G stands for get healthy. And a lot of things that we do in that part of the course is making sure that we get everything healthy. Get your lifestyle healthy in terms of sleep, get your gut healthy. That particular section of the course or the program is primarily focused on doing everything possible to keep cortisol down and to keep your nervous system regulated, because all of those things are important for helping you with keeping cortisol down. And remember, if your cortisol levels are high, you will not lose weight. It directly blocks your body from using fat as a source of fuel. So bringing cortisol down is going to be critical for success in weight loss. And one of the main ways to bring cortisol down is to make sure that you have a healthy balance of your gut microbiome in your GI system. So that is why your gut health is so important. It's important to make sure you feed your gut the right foods. So this is going to be healthy, nutritious foods that contain fiber. And also fasting is a good thing that you can do as well to help with your gut health. But I would talk to somebody, a professional, first before you include intermittent fasting as an option for helping you with healing your gut. So that's just a little bit that I wanted to talk about in terms of gut health and how it correlates with weight loss. If you are struggling with weight loss and you are looking for somebody who can create a personalized weight loss plan for you, let me know. I will link my information below, and you can book a call with me and we can see if you're a good fit to work together, so we can help you lose weight and get your body and your mind, everything on track. So I hope you like this video. If you have more questions about weight loss or topics you want me to cover, please link them below, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.